Welcome, everybody. Today, in just mere moments, we'll be signing what is often called the long bill. That is the budget bill that guides the work of the legislature to meet the funding in different areas. I am really excited to sign long bill ever, and congratulations to the JBC for their important work. I want to thank Senator Moreno, the chair, Representative McCluskey, the vice chair, all the members of the JBC who are with us today, Senator Hanson, Senator Rankin, Representative Jared, for their strong leadership on this bill. I also want to thank from the executive side Larson for her work on this bill, as well as the Legislative Budget Office, Eve Lieberman, David Oppenheim, Lisa Kaufman. This is a culmination of a year-long process, and it's always hard, but this is the hardest it's ever been because of the changing numbers and the enormous swings, thankfully for the better, in projections and numbers. There's always adjustments to projections, but usually they're small. This was the biggest swings ever, and the JBC was able to take that into account and handle it. And because of all the uncertainty and swings, they have set the historic amount for our state reserves. We have the highest state reserves since it's ever been recorded, which goes back to 1985 is when it was recorded in this form. And this is the highest level of reserves that we have ever had. This bill increases the general fund reserve to 13.4% for 21-22 and 15% for 22-23, which will help prepare our state for any of the economic uncertainties or swings of the order of magnitude that we saw over the next few years. It's always easy to celebrate in good times, but if we learned everything over the last year, we need to always prepare for the tough times, especially around economic uncertainty. And I'm proud to be signing a bill that will safeguard Colorado's fiscal future. We're also making significant investment in schools, increasing funding by 14%, or almost $600 million, fully restoring the cut that was made in 2021. It's an investment in our children, an investment in our future. And as we think about the future, we need to address the disparities that too many Coloradans face when it comes to health care, housing, access, affordability. And I'm proud that this budget makes investments that will save people money on health care and improve quality, supporting remote care technologies, rural health providers, restoring funding to Medicaid. And finally, we're building on the work that was done during the special session last year, which contributed $300 million to support our economic recovery, and we're putting forth an additional $800 million in economic stimulus that will help hardworking Coloradans and small businesses recover faster and better than ever. Some of those bills, a few have already been signed into law. There are more of those $800 million economic stimulus bills that are currently being worked on by the legislature, and we expect to sign them in the coming weeks. Once again, thank you to the JBC staff, leadership staff, and we're also joined by President Garcia, our staff in the Office of State Planning and Budget for their tireless work to get a budget across the finish line in unprecedented times, with an unprecedented degree of uncertainty, and to produce the very best long bill we've ever had amidst all that uncertainty is really to the credit of the Joint Budget Committee and the hard staff on both the legislative and executive side. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Joint Budget Committee Chair, Senator Dominic Moreno.
Thank you, Governor Polis, and I agree this is one of the best budgets we've produced. The Joint Budget Committee aims to please. And what a difference a year can make compared to where we were at this time last year and having to propose a budget that was $3 billion less than it was the year before. Some really awful reductions that were made last year that are prioritized to restore in this budget. Restoring cuts to K-12 education, to higher education, and even adding more on top of that. specifically in our higher ed space to support those students who are most likely not to finish their college education in times of economic uncertainty. First-generation students, Pell-eligible students, and underrepresented minorities. Really proud of the work that the Joint Budget Committee came together to make sure that those students are taken care of. Additional resources for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, buying down the waiting list by hundreds of slots. There is so much good in this budget that will help Colorado recover, that will prioritize communities that were disproportionately impacted by the pandemic, and set Colorado onto a more fiscally sustainable future. Very exciting stuff. Very grateful for the work of my colleagues and the collaboration with the executive branch. And thank you, Governor, for signing this important bill today. With that, I will turn it over to my partner in crime, the Vice Chair of the Joint Budget Committee, Representative McCluskey.
And let me also acknowledge, in addition to Senate President Leroy Garcia, we are joined by Speaker Alec Garnett, and our incredible Lieutenant Governor Diane Primavera is with us as well.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Chair Moreno. What a pleasure it is to serve with you. I am so delighted to stand before you today to lift up a budget for Colorado that truly represents our values, our commitment to protecting the Colorado way of life, to making sure that we're investing in an economy that works for everyone, that is fair and just, and make sure that those most impacted by the pandemic are set on a course for economic success, to make sure that they are taken care of and that they can take care of their families. As Chair Moreno said, last year was difficult. I shed a few tears myself as we made some of the most dramatic reductions ever done to a state budget in this state or probably across the nation. We were terrified of what was ahead of us and what we might be facing as a state. But thanks to some of those very thoughtful and responsible reductions, we are now in a place where our reserves have never been higher, where we are set to make more investments in Colorado's success in ways that we've only dreamed of in the past. We were able to restore the dollars we need in our public schools, for our institutions of higher education, to make sure that we're investing dollars in workforce development, workforce on-the-job training, upskilling, and making sure that every unemployed Coloradan has a path back to a livable wage and a successful future. We also made investments in something near and dear to my heart, and that's Colorado's pristine landscape. We're going to make sure that we are ready for this year's wildfire season, that we're investing in forest health and watershed restoration, and being ready for the firestorms that may be part of Colorado's future, not only this year, but in years to come. I want to thank my colleagues on the JBC, thank both the Speaker of the House and our Senate President, certainly thank all of those on the first floor and across this state who work in state departments, our state employees, the leaders of our state agencies, and of course our governor, for that commitment to working together collaboratively to make sure we're doing what's right for Colorado. And next, I get to introduce Senator Hanson.
A very good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming to the long bill signing. I share in words of thanks for all the effort that goes into this document, everyone standing up here today and many others who are not. This is a culmination of thousands of hours and thousands of individual decisions and 1,000+ line items. But the theme I wanted to leave you with today is that this is a budget about recovery and building back better. That's the document that we've delivered for this state. That's what will be signed into law today. And there's a phrase in economics, the K-shaped recovery. We are in the middle of a K-shaped recovery. The well-off are recovering quickly. The less well-off are lagging behind. This budget responds to this moment by addressing the factors that contribute to a K-shaped recovery and try to mitigate those, try to help families recover more quickly in the lower income brackets and those who are still out of work. This budget prioritizes that. I think it fits the moment and it fits our values as Coloradans.
Thank you. I'm Senator Bob Rankin. Representative, our Senator Hanson was supposed to introduce me after my. Look, this is my 7th time to do this, to be at a bill signing for the long bill. It's no less of an honor. It's an absolute privilege to be able to work on the budget. Actually, let me make 3 comments about that. The first is bipartisanship. There's a long history, tradition over on the Joint Budget Committee to put aside partisanship and work for the people of Colorado. There's never been a time where that was more important than the last 2 budgets. And believe me, I can't thank my colleagues from the majority party enough or to describe to you how important that was and what a privilege it was to work with them doing it. So thank you for bipartisanship. The second thing is just, and it's been said a little bit already, but to call your attention to the historic nature of the last 2 years. I mean, we literally have worked full time. The Budget Committee starts in November. We did not get time off when the rest of the legislature went on a COVID break, literally in place, in person. And we went from the historic worst budget in the history of Colorado, 25%, $3.5 billion cut, to the historically largest or most ample budget with the historic reserves that we're able to put aside. So the historic nature of this, we probably will look back on these years and somebody ought to write a book. I mean, it really has been an amazing financial and personal story for a lot of people. My third point is we have absolutely the most dedicated and talented staff in OSBB and on the Joint Budget Committee that I have ever worked with in my long corporate career and career in government. We are just so fortunate to have had those people, and they have worked very, very hard over these 2 budgets. So I don't think we can thank them enough. So I'll just leave it at that. Thanks to bipartisanship, thanks to our staff, we will come through this. The task ahead of us now is almost as hard. We literally have $4 billion coming through state government that we need to start determining how to spend. So the work is not over. Thank you. I am to introduce Representative Herod, one of our newer members. Still seems new to me. She's been with us a full year.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Rankin. Hey, everyone. I am so proud that we are signing this budget today. I've got to thank my colleagues in the JBC for getting me up and going up to speed very quickly. And thank goodness I did not have to be at that table when they made the very, very tough decisions about what to do and where to cut, because we were in such unforeseen territory. With unknown outcomes as we move forward. I'm proud to be a part of a JBC, though, that aligns with my liberal values of ensuring that we did get those resources restored and that we have funding for the people of Colorado. I want to thank, first of all, Speaker Garnett for appointing me to the Joint Budget Committee and trusting my leadership as we navigate this ship through this very difficult storm. And of course, my amazing colleagues in the departments, Larson and others who really joined arms to make sure that we had the budget that you see here today. I'm proud of every single piece of this budget. I'm proud to say that we have a budget that is steeped in equity. Equity is no longer just a tagline for the state of Colorado. It's one that we see reflected in every single bill and line item in our budget. And that is a testament to the work of the Joint Budget Committee, of the administration, of the departments, and the people of Colorado who said we must recover stronger and better and not go back to where we were, but ensure that we are all lifted up together. That is what this budget says, from higher education to ag, right, to our small businesses. Every single place we thought about equity.
And we thought about how we were ensuring that the people of Colorado would benefit from the decisions that we made. They're very tough decisions, but we made them together. And so when we have this budget here, what we see today, we know it's just a starting point for our recovery. We know that there is so much more that we need to do, but I am so confident with this team that we are going to do it, and we're going to do it well for the people of Colorado. So again, thank you to the speaker, to leadership for trusting me with this major task, and thank you to the Joint Budget Committee for taking me under your wings, understanding our priorities and how we can move Colorado forward together. This is a great budget, you guys, and it's a great day for the state of Colorado. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our budget director, Larson.
Thank you, Representative Herod. I'm Larson, the State Budget Director, and I like facts. I will just have 3 quick facts for you that I want to emphasize in this budget. First, a 13.4% reserve. The fact is that is the largest reserve on record. When we, last year when the pandemic hit, we had a reserve that was only about half this size. A reserve is our savings to get through tough times. And when the pandemic hit, we burned through that reserve in 3 months, in just 3 months' time. So today, we take a step to prevent that from happening again. Fact number 2, there was a quiet revolution this budget cycle, thanks to the leadership of the people behind me and beside me, where this budget presents a multi-year outlook instead of the usual annual review only, and it prepays liabilities, protecting government services that Coloradans rely on into future years. And third fact is that this never would have happened without the powerful leadership to get it through. The committee, this president, this speaker, and our governor, because it is not easy to protect resources for the future when there are very, very pressing demands in the here and now, and it takes incredible leadership. So I'll close by thanking the intrepid JBC staff and to each and every staff member. Happy to see some of you here today. Your talents and efforts and personal sacrifices over the past year made all the difference. So congratulations to all. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready to sign the bill? All right. Here we go. It's officially the law of Colorado. The budget is done. What's that? The reserve?
The reserve.
This is a historic one here. Okay, they are both official, and we get to be sure we give thanks to the JBC members and leadership here for this.